one of the things that we really do that is important is recognizing excellence, monthly award winners, year-end award winners, and Hall of Famers. The Allstate Sugar Bowl sponsors the Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame, and throughout the course of this week, we've had some of those that have been elected this year for the 2020 class on the show, including Perry Clark, Tim Floyd, Rick Jones, and the fourth person as part of that class is joining us now. And you talk about accomplishments, well, doesn't get much better than this. Won 4,415 races in his illustrious career as a jockey, including the Kentucky Derby and Belmont Stakes. And, again, being a Louisiana native, somebody that we are very much aware of and have been for a long time, and myself being around horse racing with my wife and my brother-in-law and Dallas Stewart, I've been extremely well aware of all of this. And he's a young man that grew up wanting to be in this sport from the time he was very, very young, and his career spanned nearly 4 decades. Still has family in the New Orleans area, and he will be inducted into the Allstate Sugar Bowl Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame at a date to be determined this year, given the circumstances we find ourselves immersed in. He is Craig Perret, who joins us now. Craig, listen, first of all, thanks for joining us, and congratulations to you on a very justified award. Craig, you with us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, there you are. Hey, Craig, again, first and foremost, congratulations on the award. Well-deserved and justified, and I know it has to make you very happy, right?
Oh, that was awesome.
Craig, just a little bit about your own background. You pretty much knew what you wanted to do at a very young age, didn't you?
Yes, I had my mind pretty set at a very young age.
What is it that drew you to horse racing? What attracted you to it at such a young age?
Well, my father had a couple of horses at the track, and I used to go out with him and take care of them every morning. And just the excitement, the people, of the races itself, and the passion was the horses. I just loved it then, and I was kind of like pretty stubborn. This is what I want. I mean, what kid at 6, 7 years old knows what they want in life? But I don't know. I was just drawn to it, and it was like if I had blinkers on. That's all I could see was the races and the horses, and I was just fortunate enough to where I had some good opportunities, and my main rock was my father. He gave me the opportunity. He kept me there. He kept bringing me there, and I just fell in love with it. I mean, that's all I could see.
Pure passion. Ken Trahan with Ed Daniels talking with Craig Perret to be inducted into the Allstate Sugar Bowl Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame. Ed?
Craig, favorite ride? Bet twice, unbridled, or someone else?
Oh, I get that question a whole lot. Each one, they had a different meaning to me. I mean, they're great races to win. They're classics. But, like the unbridled is going to be the most memorable of all times because it was the Derby. And, the young kid come out of Ninth Ward, who would ever thought? It was just to get there, just to ride in that race was a dream come true, let alone win it. So, he's going to be, I wouldn't put him behind nobody, and I wouldn't put Bet twice because he gave me such thrill through the Derby, just getting beat. Then he gave me a thrill through the Preakness, just getting beat. But he run like he win. That's all you can, ask for. He performed well. But when he stopped the Triple Crown and he beat Ali Sheba in the Belmont, that was pretty special because it was the connections made it so special. Mr. Jimmy Kroll and his family and Mr. Bob Levy, they were special people through my career to me and was very good to me. So that was a special moment. And actually, whenever you win one of them big races, they're all special. I don't say this one's better than that one. It was that moment at that time. It was awesome.
Going the extra quarter of a mile in the Belmont, does that make it any more special? Is it any? How much more of a challenge is it for a rider, or is that just, hey, that's the distance we had to go and that's what we had to do? Or did that extra quarter of a mile further than the Derby make it have some added significance?
No, that extra quarter of a mile wasn't a situation where the horse needed more ground. He got beat in neck in the Derby, got beat in neck in the Preakness, and it was like, oh, does he need the extra distance to turn this around? No, it wasn't the extra distance. He showed up like he shows up every race, and that day Ali Sheba may have not been on his best day, and it cost him. I mean, that's horse racing. That's why the only way you can decide the best one is on a racetrack. And it can be at any given day. I mean, when they peak and they hit their right moment.
Craig Perret, Hall of Fame jockey, joining us here on the Three Tailgaters show. All right, Craig, you talked about the horses that were superior that you rode, and Ed brought them up. What about the best horse or two that you ever saw as a jockey in the industry, observing, going against, or otherwise?
For me, I would have to say it was Secretariat. He was tons better than the 3-year-old group. He was just tons better. And, he made it look like he was tons better. Let's put it that way. I mean, the other ones were very good horses, but he was just a special horse that, I got to witness and be in the races with him. He was, you didn't even have to be a horseman and to see something special in him. That's, for myself, that's just kind of how I felt. And that's the way the horse kind of made people feel. You wanted to jump on his bandwagon, because he didn't disappoint. So I would have to say it was a Secretariat. I love a lot of great horses. I've seen in my day, ridden some real great horses, but he was the one, I guess, that really sparked the sport and, he got everybody involved. You didn't even have to be a horseman. You can be just a fan coming over, and you just kind of, he drew you right to him.
Secretariat retired, put to stud shortly after the Triple Crown races, ran again a few times, including winning in Canada in his last race. But that's one of the things that the casual viewer of the sport sometimes doesn't get or understand, is why these great horses don't continue to run and compete for years after that. The answer is there's too much money, there's too much value in putting them at stud, and that's pretty much the reason we don't see those horses. Interestingly, some of the great handicap horses over the years, the Four Good, Arrowgates, and horses like that, they really accomplished things after the Triple Crown races, which is why they stayed competitive for several years. Just comment on that, Craig.
Well, it's, again, if you're an investor and then you invest in the thoroughbred business and you come up with a real good horse, they worth so much money after that 3-year-old year, after they've accomplished what they can accomplish, that it doesn't make a lot of sense to an investor to take a chance with that kind of money. I used to love to say, I'm going to find me, I got me a good 3-year-old, You better enjoy him while you can, because if he's good and he's winning them classic races, you're not going to have him very long. He's just worth too much.
Are you worried about the game right now, Craig? The current state of it?
Am I worried about it? No, I'm sure anybody that's in this industry, the thoroughbred industry, you're going to worry about it. We hit a peak that, it's going to just come crashing down. No, I don't think that. It's at this point, there's so much going on in the country right now with the virus and, then the protesting and then the horse racing. And, it's a combination of things. You wonder, hey, if this, I know for sure that I seen it at the best times you could really see the races. And that was from the 70s through the 90s. It was at peak condition, top of the line. It kept getting bigger and bigger every year. I think it's going to rebound and come back to it because it's such a fascinating sport. It draws a lot of people, and there's a lot of people love the animal. And I'm sure it's going to rebound. But, again, I'm not involved in the racing like I used to as, the rider and there all the time now. I just raised a couple horses. I mean, I enjoy it. I love it. It'll always be, in my blood. Yeah, I just have to wait and see. I mean, I'm not real sure. I mean, there's negatives that come out of it now, and I mean, you had that incident with the maximum security thing, and it just seems like it's trickled down some.
Well, we just saw Evangeline Downs open its season. It was delayed, of course, because of what transpired, but they're now racing without fans. At least initially they thought they could have fans, but they did not when they started in the last 2 days. So we saw the fairground season complete itself, and, of course, at the end without fans, but successfully. How do you see the state of horse racing in Louisiana right now?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. If I was still riding, I don't know how that would feel to go over and ride. I mean, you don't forget how to ride the horse or horses, but with nobody there, that's kind of an upbeat to everything. That's what gets you excited. That's what gets the adrenaline going. Like when you go out in the mornings and you go breeze a horse, it's just, you're doing your job, your maintenance things. But in the afternoon, would have to feel strange. I've never rode in the afternoon with no fans there. I don't know how I would take that. I mean, I don't know if it would be as much fun, or you do need the fans to get it geared up. I mean, it's nothing like hearing that the people cheer and clap for a horse. And, I mean, I know, like, even at Keeneland, after a race, I mean, whether you're the favorite and it gets beat and it don't even hit the board, them people, they cheer for you when you come back. They love the animal. They love the sport. So with nobody there, I would say they'd probably feel pretty weird.
I'm just curious, Craig. Of all the tracks that I've been to, Keeneland is my favorite. Do you have a 1, 2, and a 3 as a rider that you enjoyed the most?
Yes. I enjoy Keeneland. I enjoy Monmouth Park, and I enjoy Saratoga.
There's the one I want to go to, the last one. Haven't been yet, Saratoga.
Oh, well.
It's fantastic.
You better put that on the bucket list.
I'm looking for. I've been to Keeneland. I tell you what, I was actually there for a Bluegrass Stakes, and it was as fantastic an experience as I've ever had covering sports. It was just, and people say, well, wait a minute, you've been to the Derby, you've been to the Preakness. I said, I understand that, but there is just something special about Keeneland because spring in Kentucky is a living postcard. It is amazing.
Well, it's got the whole package there at Keeneland in the spring. I mean, you get to go out into the grandstand and you look out at the racetrack and you see the farms with the little babies running in the background. It's all built around it. It's all, and you can feel it and smell it in the air. It's just, and the people really love racing there. All of them, all the fans, they love it. And, I mean, that trickles off onto you. I mean, you just walking out the paddock there, going out to the paddock, it's just a wonderful experience.
Final thought before we let you get away, Craig. What about the state of fairgrounds right now? How do you see our race course here and the tradition that has existed for such a long period of time in terms of the condition, in terms of the presentation, the quality of the horses, the horsemen? How do you see fairgrounds right now?
Well, fairgrounds is one of the top-of-the-line racetracks. I mean, you got some great horsemen there, and you got some very good horses now. The fairgrounds was always pretty much known as one of the places them horses really wanted to crank up to the Derby. I mean, it's similar to Churchill Downs with the long stretch, little narrower turns. I mean, that was, from my childhood all the way through, it was all about the Louisiana Derby because that led you to the Kentucky Derby. So we've seen a lot of good horses come out of there, but I think in the past 8-9 years, you've seen a lot better horses come out of there. I mean, there's a lot more people that are sending their horses down there. They're good horses. They're big investments. You're using that as the stepping stone to get to the greater things. So I think they've come a long, long way, the fairgrounds.
All-State Sugar Bowl Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame to be inducted this year. The terrific jockey from New Orleans, Craig Perret. Craig, listen, congratulations on the award. We look forward to it happening when the ceremony will occur, which I'm sure it will at some point. And listen, we look forward to seeing you too. You hear? Congratulations once again.
Well, when we get there, I'll be looking forward to seeing you, and then hopefully we can hook up again in Saratoga in the summer.
How about that, huh? All right. Boy, that sounds absolutely spectacular.
I'll give you a grand tour.
Thank you, Craig. That's
Awesome.
very kind of you.
Thank
All
you,
right, well,
Craig.
you guys-
Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Our pleasure. Craig Perret, Hall of Famer, All-State Sugar Bowl Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame. Wonderful accomplishment, great guy, someone to be proud of from our community.